Honestly, looking at like his moves and stuff, like at first glance, like people will say that like his move list, his move set with like the Bohemian Typhoon is like kind of daunting, but um, the one thing about him is you can actually like buffer his moves. Like you can mask his attacks and like whiff buttons, or most of the time you're gonna be doing like the Typhoon like in block strings and combos. So if you do something when you hit somebody, like specifically the up versions, like if you do like the half circle up, a lot of people thinking like, well, how am I going to do this move without jumping? Like, you either hit them blocking or hit, or they take the hit, or you whiff a button and do it as you're buffering that whiff button. So I don't think he's going to be too bad in terms of execution. Now, in terms of him as a character, like where he stands, I mean, that can be up for debate because he has some decent stuff. He has okay pressure, it seems. It's just his whole thing of getting in. Like he doesn't have the best arsenal for getting in. And I mean, we got characters like Nagaryuki, crazy insane buttons. Kai has really good neutral, solid buttons. Like I said, Ramlethal earlier. Um, Axel, even somebody like I think her Chemical Love could do a good job of keeping him out. Faust, I think, could be a good way to keep him out. So it's gonna probably come down to how fast you can get in on him and how much damage, because he does damage. He's doing like you can do like 70% with no super.
Mm.
So and like not even really wrong counts. Like if you get the right hit, especially like counter hit, he can do like 70% without even using a bar. So that's his thing. Like he does damage. And again, like you can do chip, like if you have no meter in it, no like defensive options, he can do like probably 30% to you just blocking. So that's the thing. Like you don't want to have him near you. And if he is near you, you want to always follow his defense, block his stuff because it's gonna do mad chip damage. And so also you want to push him away from you too. But it's just gonna come down to that. If people can figure out a way to like really optimally use him in that way, probably figuring out how to really optimize his mind, because it works off his security level. Like if his security level is low, the little bar, it doesn't go far. So you're gonna have to like really keep it, like pay attention, like the meter and like all his special moves. I think only the mine and his super are affected by, I know, and the Gatling gun. I forgot
The
about the
Gatling
Gatling
gun.
gun.
Yeah.
He has a Gatling gun, which is decent. It seems like it does a pretty good amount of chip, especially when it's fully charged, security level. It doesn't seem like the greatest like projectile, but it's something. He has something. So yeah, I think it's just gonna come down to how fast people can get in on you and maul you, because he does big boy damage.
Yeah, I think like he does a decent amount of damage, and I think like it's good that he does. But I feel like in terms of if I were to like say, hey, like where would like how far up he would be if we are gonna like try to place him on a tier list, I think he might be. I don't think he'd be in the upper echelons. I think he'd be pretty around maybe like A tier, B tier, maybe something like that. Because I think like there's like the competition in this game is kind of stiff. Characters like May, like characters who like actually do a decent amount of damage and can get in really quick. Especially characters like Soul Bad Guy who are like and who low profile move, who can actually low profile stuff like Gatling gun, like his Gatling gun and stuff like that, you know, and get in pretty quickly. And I don't know, I think Goldlewis is, like I said, I think he's a cool character, but as far as like actual utility, I think when people finally like when people start figuring him out, which is not going to take that long because it's like there's like hundreds of thousands of people online like probably using this character right now. It's probably not going to take people that long to figure him out, but when people start figuring him out, like I feel like we'll have a more I feel like we'll find that he's like kind of in the mid-tier range. I think like that's what he looks like to me. I feel like having to manage the security gauge isn't that bad because it charges relatively quickly, and it really doesn't affect. It only affects like a couple moves, so it's not like something that it's being shared by like all these different moves, and it's like, oh man, like I have to like it's not the Nagoriyuki blood gauge. You know what I mean? Like it's not that. Thank goodness. So it's not like something that you're necessarily punished that lends itself to a punishment or something like that. It's more like, okay, my moves are stronger at this point than they are at this point. It's all about, if anybody's ever played Paladins, it's a free first person shooter. And there's a character named Koga on there. He's a ninja character, and he has like a bar at the bottom of his screen, and you use that bar, the energy in that bar, for a lot of his moves. And the thing is, one thing that I remember reading is that it's not necessarily like Koga is like this character that just kind of goes in and does what he wants. Like, he's a character that has moments of power, And I think in Goldlewis's case, Goldlewis is already a strong character. So I think in this case, there are moments where his power peaks. He has peaks and valleys, you know what I mean, as far as his power. I don't even know if I would call it valleys, because it's not necessarily like it necessarily dips. His power dips. It's just like, it's steady, and then it peaks and then goes back down to standard. So I don't know. I think like Goldlewis will find that, like, he's an interesting character. I think, like, as far as like strength wise, in terms of where he falls in the cast, I think we're looking at a pretty mid to high mid tier character, I think.